The problem is with Aikido, you are still dealing with a non-resisting opponent. The same issue we had with Krav Maga, because the joint locks employed. If you go watch some Aikido, you'll see the joint locks that are employed. For example, an arm bar, a standing arm bar, where you grab the wrist and the arm is essentially out straight, and you've got a good grip on the arm, where you could theoretically, if the person was standing in one place, resisted your push to go that way, you could break his arm. But the problem is the person is moving like you want them to move, and if you try to use that in real life, it's not going to work, unfortunately.
One of the
Yeah,
things I
the
noticed.
biggest, yeah.
Sorry, one of the things I noticed from the training videos once again was Aikido training is what also it's just static. Like you
No,
said, it's like
no,
Krav Maga training where the guy's
no.
standing
It's
there waiting to come in, and then he's telling him what to do, and then when he comes in, he flips him.
Yeah, well, there's concepts and principles that are employed in Aikido. It is all about using momentum and movement, and using the person's weight against them, essentially, which is great. It's a really cool concept. Steven Seagal is a master at it.
Yeah, he's a
And
seventh dan black belt.
yeah, so let's not argue that he's any sort of a hero in the martial arts community. A lot of people actually rip him off for the fact, for the shit that he's pulled off. I mean, he said that he actually taught, what was his name? Spider Silver. He taught Spider Silver one of his moves. And Anderson Silva
he claimed that he
actually
helped Lyoto Makita perfect the front kick.
Yeah. So
UFC
I mean,
fighter.
okay, that's that's the type of people that Aikido attracts. So I mean, that explains it all to you. But it is. I mean, it is cool. As far as traditional martial arts go, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful art to watch. It does use real principles. The only problem is there is no real training against resisting opponents. Now, whether or not you want to be doing that is a different story, because it might just be a martial art where you're using it as a meditative process, and at very least to have an understanding of momentum, and have an understanding of control points and leverage,
So
and
what
that
you're
would
saying is from a
absolutely in a fight help you.
So what you're saying is from a self-defense perspective, it's shite.
I mean, if you go
world.
up against someone who's never fought a day in their life, I mean, you could stand a chance because you've got these principles down. But unless you have been dealing with punches and kicks and someone trying to actually strangle you, you're not going to fare very well in a real life situation, unfortunately, both physically and mentally, because one, you wouldn't have physically prepared for a resisting opponent, but secondly, you wouldn't have had the stresses of having to deal with an attacker with bad intentions coming towards you. So that's I suppose the biggest issue.